Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy.
All right, folks, here we are on Friday, January 31st. We're going to take a look at Workhorse today. So Workhorse continuing to make new lows. We now see it's by far at its lowest point in its storied history, if we want to call it that. And yeah, settling down here, dipping actually below 50 recently. So I put in some extension levels on the fib to see if it continues to draw down, where might it go? I guess sort of the challenging news, as I would see it, for workhorse bulls is the nearest resistance level that I see is about 60 cents. So percentage-wise, quite far away. Right? We need quite a climb to get there. It's not been shown to be super prone to climbing for quite some time. And equally as challenging is the nearest in support level that I have is 42, 43, right? 42 and a half is the actual level that's shown here on the fib. Again, percentage wise, that's another great percentage to lose, to go from 52 to 42. So, those are the levels that I have on the chart. Down below 42, again, we're in no man's land, right? Because we're at lows. But I have basically 20 cents below 42. If it does climb back above 60, I have 73, basically 85, and then $1, as you would imagine, and $1.26 to the upside. Now, if we take those off the chart for now and get a little less focused on particular levels and just take a look at the EMAs, we see it just continuing to have a hard time since, I guess, back here on January 7th. So about 3+ weeks ago, it's tried to stretch to the 34 EMA. It got there, but just rejected right off of it, and then since then has not been able to do anything other than treat the 8 EMA as resistance. So sort of as bearish of a motion and as bearish of a pinning as you can get, at least on my setup that I have here. 8, 21, and 34 as my short-term EMAs. With this big push when it jumped 21%, and that was on the back of a day where it jumped 51%. I think this was back, this was in November. So this was, I think, when like JD Vance visited their factory or something. I mean, talk about a really short-lived catalyst. That's what happened. You see the increase in volume here too, right? I mean, first you had this bump in volume that brought it up to 51%, but then the next day's big bump in volume, which was 39, almost 40 million, as opposed to the previous day's 11 million. That was a bunch of people sort of locking in profit all the way down through here, right? That's how you get that big wick. And so the selling pressure was just on like Donkey Kong, and it just fell back through. It had this brief bullish crossover, but again, that was such a silly catalyst. I don't have a better way to put it. That, yeah, of course, it was like a 2-day rally that was like, kind of a sad-ish rally on the second day, and then it just all fell apart in a tremendous fashion. We do still see, if we sort of zoom out here, we do still see kind of a continuous little uptick in volume with Workhorse, but again, it's dominated by selling volume because that's where the action is coming in. So the sell side volume coming in and just keeping it, like I said, pinned underneath that 8 EMA since that, as I air quote, silly catalyst happened. It's not been able to make any meaningful charge back to or through the EMAs. Like we said, back here, pushed off of the red 34 and then is once again just pinned underneath the 8. So not a lot to sort of brag about there or be hopeful about as it pertains to that. Relatively mid to thin volume down where we are. It's exactly what you would expect. We're down at lows, so of course that's going to be the case. You see all the shelving above, right where you can see all the price action. So it's not sort of hidden in any way, shape, or form, but if it does climb back through there, it's going to hit quite a hefty wall, probably in like the 70 to 75 stretch. And then it will likely continue into the low 80s if it were to get there. Now, of course, if it were to get there, there'd be a huge percentage climb, and maybe it would make some folks happy, but just know that that's sort of looming above if it does sort of take that action. Corporate action wise, you have insider activity. This is January, right? This is just a few weeks ago. This is at the end of last year. And you see folks that have to report, that are obligated to report, just selling all along the way here. And yeah, just seemingly insiders doing nothing but putting in sell orders. And that sort of goes back all through 2024. So, why retail would buy in at this point, I don't know. I don't see a huge case for it. I don't know how Workhorse is going to stay compliant. They did a reverse split back here. And I know you can only do it so many times to stay compliant. I don't know where they are on that threshold. It looks like maybe there was, or the one prior to that was so far back, or maybe it's not listed here in Webull, I don't know. But it looks like they, at least from what I'm seeing here, they may have the opportunity to do it again. So maybe that would be their go-to tactic to try to stretch this out. I tried to look at any like good news coming up, and there's this stuff where they're like still promoting this like these delivery vehicles and whatnot, and going to like conferences and showcases or what have you to display these things. I even went to the Workhorse Reddit. I make that sound like I went to Vietnam or something, like during the war. But I went to the Workhorse Reddit to try to see what's the sentiment around this, and I just saw a bunch of like people would sort of post what Workhorse is putting out there as like good news, right, or bullish news, promising news, showing like images of delivery vehicles and showing up to events and stuff like that, and there's just like bearish comment after sarcastic comment. Like people just seem to be like, why are they this is stupid news, like they don't have anything to really promote. And somebody put in there, I didn't double check this, but somebody put in there like, oh, maybe they'll double or triple their delivery orders from last year's event, which was 0. So, as I'm sure you know, if you multiply 0 by 2 or 3, you are back to 0. Or 200 or 300, you're still back to 0. But yeah, so, seemingly from the folks who were engaged with it enough, interested in it enough to have joined the Workhorse Reddit, they also seemed like, yeah, this news is stupid, and I don't know what we're doing here, was basically the like vibe that I got. Now, I don't know, yeah, maybe something could come up that would be a tremendous lift, but I mean, it would have such a ridiculous need to claw back so much, like per share price. I don't even know what you count as a recovery at this point. It feels like the biggest win that Workhorse could have at this point is to just not get delisted. I don't know. But it just has, I don't know, it gives me Fisker vibes in a way. But we'll see what happens, I guess. But yeah, it's I'm happy to be sitting on the sidelines and just watching this one at this point and kind of see what happens. All right, folks. So I hope that you had a good trading week and that you enjoy your weekend. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.